Hello, my friends, and happy Thursday to you. If you're going to work, you're gonna have a great work day. If you're leaving work, you're gonna have a great rest before you go to sleep. Today, I have many interesting stories for you, and I'll open them up. They are something you don't hear every day. For example, we'll start with Putin's orders to the front line. Putin has ordered Russian army to take Avdiivka by December 14th. That gives the Russian army 13 days or close to 2 weeks to take that city. And if we look at the map, then they have more work to do. Being more specific, there are 4 settlements they have to take to surround Avdiivka, aka take it fully. Beaucheix, Semenivka, Orlivka, and Delinsky, all of these settlements. But the truth is, if they take even one of these, the Ukrainians will have to pull out because that establishes very permanent firing sectors on all Ukrainian logistical routes. So losing any one of these 4 settlements right here would mean for Ukrainian army losing Avdiivka. I'll read you the text published by Russian media, which is quite anti-Putin, so I don't know how they were able to do it, but I'll read you the text, it's very interesting. Let's talk about the military unit 95411, which was assigned to the so-called Donetsk People's Republic's military unit. And their situation is said to be so inconsolable that the relatives of those mobilized wrote a letter to Putin. A very common genre in Russia, the so-called letter to the Tsar. It's like a Western way of doing the same things would be to strike or demonstrate. You know, a strike when taxi drivers or firefighters don't work for a week. That's I don't know how you call it in, I think it's a strike. In Russia, you don't do that because you go to prison if you do that. So you have the letter to the Tsar version, which you can do because it's like a public turning to the Tsar without criticizing the Tsar ever, but trying to get his attention and filming it and sharing it in Russian social media. That is the only way you can protest without going to jail. And it has over 100 signatures. The letter states that on November 25th, there was an order to send soldiers with light and medium wounds to the front line so that they could continue to heal themselves there. So it's better to heal yourself on the front line. You don't have a harm. You're losing your right arm. It don't matter. You still have your left one. You can shoot, comrade. Go to the front. According to the authors of the letter, the soldiers were told that it was necessary to take Avdiivka at any cost by December 14th. So it is the order from the Tsar. So what good is writing a letter to the Tsar if he's the very one ordering to take Avdiivka? It's basically writing to the Tsar that I don't really want to follow your orders. It's not a good thing to do in Russia. When Putin is planning on December 14th, Putin is planning a televised appearance, and after that they should hope for peace. That's what the soldiers were told if they take Avdiivka. To further iterate the point of what it means for Ukrainians to lose Avdiivka or to be forced to pull out of Avdiivka, then any one of these 3 settlements, Donenka, Orlivka, and Beaucheix, if Russians manage to occupy any one of these 3, Ukrainians would have to pull out, or it will be another Azovstal, because after occupying one of these, the logistical routes in and out of Avdiivka would no longer be traversable safely. Even now they're not safe, but they're still doable, it's still manageable. So the battle is not for the center of Avdiivka or the coke plant. The battle actually is for one of these 3 settlements. And as you can see, it's the main Russian goal from the north and south to connect to these settlements. My friends, you know Noel from Twitter. Hi Noel. Say hi to Noel in the comment section because he let me know that he watched some of the videos. So let's say hi to Noel. He does amazing work in Twitter, very professional, one of the best military bloggers in Twitter I know. Go and follow him also. His link is in the description below. He just finished a fundraiser which gathered over $110,000 to buy 115 kamikaze drones and 1 truck. And I might be on the convoy that delivers these. When I go to Ukraine, which I do regularly, I post everything on my Instagram. So if you want to keep an eye on those adventures, and they are mind-blowing, go to my Instagram, link is in the description below. For example, last time I was in Ukrainian state television and some of the people are commenting that they don't find the video. Okay, my friends, I'll make it really easy for you. The video is right here. You're gonna watch the whole interview. Boom, let's go.
I'm honored to give you my tonight's guest, Artur Rehi. Wrong, isn't it?
It's very wrong,
No,
but
no,
good
tell it.
style points.
No.
Artur Rehi, yeah.
Artur Rehi. So I am from Latvia. You are from Estonia. We're probably missing someone from Lithuania to give that Baltic chain.
We need to the Baltic way, yeah, we need to do it.
All right, Arthur, it's first of all nice to have you here in Ukraine. What are you doing
In Ukraine.
in Ukraine?
Well, this is my 5th trip to Ukraine in 2023, and I am a volunteer. I'm actually in Estonia. I'm a military blogger. I have a YouTube channel, 670,000 subscribers, and I do English daily frontline updates for American and Western NATO countries. And through that, I joined the 69th Sniffing Brigade, which is part of NAFO. It sounds funny, but it's the dog in Sniffing Brigade.
You look enjoying what you do much, isn't it?
I do. I mean, we drive trucks to Ukraine to give them to units who need them the most. We give drones, we give medical aid, anything we can, and recently even kamikaze drones, actually. The ones that carry 1.5 kilograms of explosives and could even take out a BTR.
Kamikaze drones. You're over here to Ukraine.
No.
You've been here. My next question: Have you been here like on November 25th? It was the night before yesterday.
Yeah. I heard the bangs, couldn't sleep. I'm up from 5 a.m. Yes.
You aren't afraid?
I was very afraid. I'm not even gonna hide it. I was very much afraid. I was very tired also, so I was contemplating of not going to the shelter. But in the end, I went. There was nobody down there because Ukrainians are brave and used to it.
Used to it, but because you know we are. This is the brave nation. I can tell you that. But you are getting used to almost everything because the life is going on. You just can't stop it. Will you continue your raids to Ukraine? Will your volunteering job is very important, but you will continue no matter what, right?
Oh, definitely, because tomorrow we're already shooting a video with a secret GUR unit and secret drone project to fundraise new big Baba Yaga drones, большой drone, and we will bring them in February. So we're gonna give the goal is to get about 75,000 euros to buy these drones and give them to GUR units who are on the front lines and also behind the enemy lines.
Well, that is impressive. But you do that for. You know, when I was here like since second week of the war. Came from Berlin, and when I came back to Berlin for a week, I felt that kind of adrenaline push. It pushes me back. I want to go back because I feel important. Do you have that feeling?
I mean, it's, to be honest, we're all human. Everybody wants to feel the feeling of belonging and the feel that what you do directly helps somebody. That gives. And in Ukraine, you cannot anywhere in the world feel so needed than in Ukraine. It's such a good feeling for me as a human being. So I like that feeling, but I also do like the Ukrainian people so much. Also, I'm from Estonia, but look at me. I don't look Estonian. I'm more like Caucasian. So, like from.
What do you mean? What is looking Estonian?
You would look Estonian more. Like
really?
I'm like a bit darker, maybe from the eyes, or like weird nose like that. So I don't fit in there. I feel like I fit in here very well. So that's why I come also.
What are the plans?
Other plans? Well,
Baba Yaga drone. This is the big one.
Oh yeah, one Baba Yaga with thermal vision, 10 other drones that are fixed wing kamikaze drones that can go 150 kilometers behind enemy lines, and then a truck also to carry these drones to the front line.
You're not doing that alone, aren't you?
Well, I actually don't. What I do is I make a video to my viewers because I do daily updates, and my viewers from America donate the money, so I give them the possibility to help.
And you came here with your friend and a partner, I believe so?
We are coming with a guy called Ragnar Sass from Estonia who made the 69th Sniffing Brigade, and he has delivered, through my help and other fundraisers' help, and he has brought 250 vehicles already this year and last year. So it's 3 million euros or dollars worth of vehicles, drones and medical equipment. And every month this happens, 15 cars a month.
I just recently returned from New York. We were there with President Delinsky, and also we're doing some short interviews on the street. So I asked someone, do you know what's going on in Ukraine? Like 6 out of 10 respondents don't know anything about Ukraine. And some say, yeah, of course I know. There's some kind of a natural disaster there. And then there are people like you, like from Europe, that know what is going on. But tell me, If Russia would invade Estonia, would you go to your Estonian army to defend your country?
I have to go. Well, in Latvia, thing is different because they only now re-established the conscription. But we have a conscription all the time. So I went to the army for 8 months to be conscripted, and I'm a reservist. So when war starts, I'm first one to be sent to the front. So we have to go. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania are actually doing a lot for Ukraine. Why do you think this is happening?
Well, we know what it's like to live under Soviet occupation. I mean, I'm a young guy. I was born in free Estonia, but my grandfather was alive when I was born, and for 15 years until he died, he told me stories how he was deported as a baby. 4 years old he was when he was put to train 2.5 weeks to Siberia. Guys were dying on that train. They threw them out to the trucks, the Soviet officers, and then they were dumped in Siberia. It was cold. They were beaten there. For 4 years he had to suffer that, and then came back as a broken boy. And that's what he had to build himself up. He built himself up into a big, magnificent man. But I know the stories and the pain, and I grew up with it. So for me, this trauma is as fresh as it happened yesterday. So I'm fighting for Ukraine and for Estonia.
What is the hardest thing that you faced here in Ukraine?
I think my own fear of dying and tiredness. And, you know, you're very tired here because you have to drive for 30 hours and missiles fly. I'm afraid. So I think these things, yeah. Because everything else, talking to soldiers, all of that, for me, it's just pure thank you that you're doing this.
Yeah.
Because my mother can live because you're doing this. You know? So I think my own fear.
So you told your mother the truth, that you're going volunteering actually in a war zone, like delivering drones and explosives and whatever. She knows where you are.
She knows, my grandmother knows, my fiance knows. I'm bringing them back icons from the church, because they're Orthodox, Greek Orthodox, not Russian. So they would feel safe also.
Something at least.
Something at least, yes.
Artur, thank you very much for what you do, for your experience. If there is any story that you would love to share right now, or no?
I can just say, if I say to the camera maybe that...
You know what? Say something to Ukrainian nation. Go ahead.
In English, I can say. Right?
Yes, but do you know Ukrainian?
No.
All right, go ahead.
I just want to say on behalf of Estonia and perhaps even Latvia and Lithuania, and definitely on Finnish, because we have Finnish guys here. Thank you what you're doing, and in my eyes, you directly help keep Estonia safe and free, and all of the Baltics and Finland also. And we will fight for you until the end, until victory. Slava Ukraini.
Yeah.
A few months ago, Putin assigned a new leader to the Dnipro grouping of Russian armed forces, General Delinsky, who is connected to VDV or the Desantniks or semi-special forces of the Russian army. He is sent there by Putin to get things in order, push back the Ukrainian bridgehead. He has now made his first diversionary operation. Let's see how it went. And I'll read you the report. It's juicy, in a good and in a bad way. Today there is more material from the Kherson region. In November there was also a lot of talk of the Russian side about Colonel General Delinsky unsuccessful deception maneuver, during which 76 soldiers lost their lives. Now a video filmed by a Russian soldier immediately after the attack appeared in the media, and based on this, military experts determined that the column of soldiers was attacked with 2 M30A1 missiles. That is, they are missiles where after the explosion 180,000 pieces of tungsten of different sizes fly apart, which also pierce the armor. But in the column were lorries or trucks with plaster covers, in the boxes of which almost all soldiers were sent to take a dirt nap, were knocked out cold, were sent to sleep with the fishes, were sent to push up sunflowers, were sent to meet with their makers. I could keep on going, man. You have educated me in the comments of these wordings in English language, and I love them, and I won't stop. Unlike cluster ammunition, no exploded shells remain after such explosion. I cannot show the full video, I cannot even show almost anything of it because it's extremely gory, but I'll show what I can show to illustrate the point. This part is blurred because you know what's there. You can see this is the back of the Kamaz truck, and it's just a fabric or a cover. It's no armor, it's no metal. You can see these small holes right here. These are these 180,000 tungsten pieces. It means, and there are 4 trucks like that behind each other, all holy trucks, filled with these micro holes that These tungsten pieces penetrated everything, to trucks, to flesh, to ground, to trees, everything. The whole air was filled with American freedom. It's truly a meat grinder in the most direct sense in this battle. 76 Russian soldiers sleeping with the fishes. As you can see, the holes, the air is coming through, the light is coming through. You can see how many of these pieces were flying through the air, and they penetrated everything. They penetrated these soldiers' rear areas. So General Delinsky, who was sent to make a difference, was not able to make a difference, but he made a difference for these 76 soldiers' lives. He made these lives non-existent. So I guess he did make a difference. Now, my friends, I'll tell you a story about how Ukraine is crossing the Dnipro. See, Dnipro front is very different from all other fronts because Ukraine has pushed everything they have connected to drones into this area. They have pushed kamikaze drones, electronic warfare jammers, Baba Yaga drones, everything there, because for some reasons, and the reasons I have mentioned in the previous videos also, Russian artillery units and drone units in the area are far less trained and less motivated. This reduces their effectiveness. So Ukrainians do have, and that's the only part of the entire front line where Ukrainians have drone superiority and artillery superiority. And I'll read you the report. A video: Ukrainian army has deployed 56 tiny boats on the front line in the Dnipro area, and more than 200 such boats are expected to be added in near future. Since both shores are under Ukraine's control and Russia cannot hit small, fast boats with either aircraft bombs or drones, most of which are shot down, this way the infantry can quite successfully move from one shore to the other. A war of positions have developed there on the front line, where Ukraine still has some pretty strong trump cards to use. Now, this is in no way any kind of rosy report that, oh, everything is good, Ukrainians are winning. No, I'm saying in most of the frontal areas, Russians have the initiative, they have artillery superiority, and they have the drone superiority, or drones are equal. But in the Dnipro area, a very limited area of the entire war, Ukrainians have these advantages, and they are using them to the fullest. So what the Russians do against it is, because they cannot send drones, because the Dnipro area is concentrated, oversaturated with Ukrainian electronic warfare jammer units, they will just lose drones, and the drone units are even not agreeing to send their drones there anymore, because they don't want to lose it. They have to put it in the report that they lost the drone for nothing. So Russians are usually bombarding these Ukrainian bridgeheads with glide bombs, which you can release about 10 to 15 kilometers away, and it glides to the position. That is the only way they can do anything, because the infantry there is also less effective. Now, about these speedboats, why are they so important? Well, because they are fast, they are small, and the only way to take them down is Russian kamikaze drones or Russian drones that drop grenades or explosives. But since Ukraine has oversaturated the area with electronic warfare jamming units, Russians cannot really do much about these speedboats, because with glide bombs, you don't bombard speedboats. It's nearly impossible. It's a huge area weapon, because it makes a big kaboom. So, as of now, it might change in the future. Ukrainian speedboats traveling daily and nightly across Dnipro, carrying supplies, medication, food, and infantry, are not contested by the Russians. This situation can change any day now, but as of making this video, it's good news. And every time I say good news, I feel the need to say and bring people to reality that I'm not ignoring Ukrainian losses. There are many. 1/3 of the Russian losses, every soldier I spoke to in Ukraine, in Kiev, they come from different areas of the battle, of the front line. They say that for 3 Russians, 1 Ukrainian goes. And some people report that 7, 8 Russians, 1 Ukrainian. These soldiers tell a different story. For every 3 Russians, 1 Ukrainian. So you can imagine Ukrainians have lost about 80,000 soldiers in this war, maybe 100,000 soldiers. That's the information I am getting from the soldiers who are fighting on the front. I leave it up to you to decide which is the truth. And of course, put it in the comments. Now, my friends, I will talk about something that very pro-Ukrainian military bloggers don't talk. Of course, I am also pro-Ukraine, but I do value real information, so I will report everything I deem to be necessary and real to get a balanced picture. There is a division between Delinsky and Zaluzhny, president of Ukraine and the chief of staff of the armed forces of Ukraine. Now, there are different reasons for it, and much of it is also Russian propaganda, but there is also truth in it. The thing is, according to public questionnaires in Ukraine, a lot of people support Zelensky, but the people supporting and trusting Zaluzhny is bigger. The most popular leader in Ukraine right now is Zaluzhny, not Zelensky. That is perhaps the reason for the division also. I'll read you the report. About the situation on the fronts, recently there has been a lot of talk about the contradictions between Zelensky and Zaluzhny. And according to Ukrainian military experts, the main problem was that Zaluzhny already wanted to focus on defense. Now the president of Ukraine has also clearly stated that the focus is on defense in the current situation. So Zaluzhny, being the chief of staff of the armed forces, he knows more about the losses, about the strategic importance to defend at the right location at the right time. Zelensky, being a political leader, has political orders to defend sometimes at any cost, like it was at the last months of Bakhmut or right now in Avdiivka. Of course, Zaluzhny losing his men don't like these orders and is questioning and trying to change Zelensky's mind. So I can understand this division of these two people having different goals in mind. In the end, the goal is the same, of course, but the political objectives and the military objectives can be very different, like we see in the Russian army, where Putin is ordering meat assaults, but the generals would much like to save their men, but they can't. Several months ago, Alexei Arestovich criticized that it was time to quickly start building proper defensive lines in the Luhansk region, where the enemy has a short logistical arm and it is easy to quickly bring in more reserves. This way, Russians would be forced to attack the strongest defensive lines. Alexei Arestovich is a questionable figure who has said some very good stuff, but he has said some extremely bad stuff also. So I'm not giving any credit to him. And also, of course, put it in the comments, what do you think of him? But if he says something that I really agree with, I of course will share it. Now, in this case, I do agree. Let's look at the situation. He criticized Zelensky and Zaluzhny both for not starting to build extensive defensive networks in the Luhansk region earlier. Why? Because the strongest Russian logistics in the entire occupied Ukraine is in Luhansk and Donetsk areas, because it's close to Russia, they have railways, and it has been under Russian occupation for almost 10 years, so they have had time to build up the logistics. In the south, it is different. So it is only natural, we all know that it's a war of logistics, and Russians are an army that relies heavily on trains. Trains and rail works in this area, meaning Russians will, if they have to attack somewhere, they will attack very heavily where the logistic works. Now, what Arestovich was meaning here is let's build extremely impenetrable defensive lines to the location that Russians have it easiest to attack due to their logistics. That would force Russians to attack a steel wall, because southern logistics is complicated and the Kherson area is screwed for the Russians. Of course, they will try in Severodonetsk area, in the Kupiansk area, which time has proven that they have tried there a lot. Now, if Ukraine would have built these defensive lines, that would have meant even more losses for the Russians. I do agree with this rhetoric that where the enemy is attacking the most, you should have the most defenses. Simple as that. To sum up this topic, I will report to you that Ukraine has ended all large-scale offensive operations everywhere on the front line and focuses now fully on exhausting the Russian offensive capabilities and defense. What does that mean exactly? That means most of the battles or positions that you hear Ukraine has liberated, they're positional battles, local battles. No large-scale attacks like we saw in June and July in the southern front are happening right now, because even Zelensky and Zaluzhny both agree now that the main goal now is to defend, save Ukrainian manpower and equipment, and to exhaust Russian offensive capabilities. Ukrainians are good at it. And I know some people are expecting any day some new changes, for example, the repeating of the Izium Russian disaster or pulling out of the Kherson area. As of now, I don't see that happening in the battlefield for the coming weeks or months. What I see is a gradual grinding down of Russian offensive capabilities. That is war, that's the real situation. And I'm glad to see that, because any decision that minimizes Ukrainian losses and maximizes Russian losses is the right decision in this war. And now, my friends, to talk even more about topics that some of my viewers don't want to listen to, but I have to do it because in the sense of real reporting, it is necessary. In the sense of balanced view, it is necessary. I don't want you to get a one-sided picture. First ever and one and only Bradley infantry fighting vehicle under the armed forces of Ukraine has been captured by the Russians. And they are reverse engineering it, filming it, and trying to figure out what it is and what its capabilities are. Now, of course, it is not a huge blow with the United States or the NATO countries or Ukraine, because it is bad, of course, but US has taken it into account that it is possible that this can happen. I'm not saying it should be taken lightly, and I would advise, if I could do that, I'm not in a position to advise the Ukrainian armed forces, but I would choose that they would destroy this vehicle before it goes to the Russians, but you cannot always control these actions. I'll read you the report. At Avdiivka, north of the city, the Ukrainian 47th Brigade has organized several counterattacks near Stepove. And during the heavy battles, some ground has also been retaken, liberated, but Russia is repeatedly sending infantry to attack. In this section, a few weeks ago, a Bradley infantry fighting vehicle at the disposal of the Ukrainians was hit by a missile and the crew left. The infantry fighting vehicle was in the so-called gray zone from where Russia tried to take it away. But in the first attempt, the weather conditions allowed the Ukrainians to monitor the situation and the Russian equipment was destroyed. The second time, Russia tried when there was heavy fog, and in this time they were lucky. And now there is a lot of material about the machine in the media and the unanimous assessment of the Russian military that it is an infinitely better machine than their infantry fighting vehicles, both in terms of armor and weapons. And I can agree to it. Russians, of course, will use anything they can to improve their own BTRs and BMPs connected to this Bradley. I mean, they will get information from it that will benefit their armored vehicles program. But this happens. Any kind of equipment you send anywhere in any war, there is a possibility that the enemy will capture it. My friends, I am coming to the United States of America. It is official. In the USA, my manager Brian is forming Artur's army, and this is a volunteer unit of people who are helping Ukraine, and we are organizing these people to be able to help Ukraine in any way they can, in any way your capabilities are. We will focus on guiding these towards helping Ukraine. Now, what I want to ask is, if there are any companies, or if you know or are connected or run a company, then I would need your help. Since coming to the US is a big obstruction of me making these Ukrainian videos, so obstruction of my work, but I need to come to organize this unit in the US to help Ukraine more. If your company would like to sponsor my trips, that is buying tickets or covering the hotel costs or just sponsor in any other way, food or whatever you can, then write to me. My email is on the screen and let's talk. If you are able to make my trip easier or smoother, that gives me more time to focus on Ukraine, because that's what I do with all of my working time. So thank you, my friends, for considering it, and I look forward to reading your emails. Any companies would work that can help. Also, this can go towards charity tax write-offs, because this is connected directly to making charity in US towards Ukraine. We have an official charity unit is also in the forming right now. Write to me. My friends, and now my favorite part of the video, Thursdays, Patreons. Every video I mention these patrons because, like I mentioned about the USA part, anything that helps me relieves my time to be put on Ukraine. And since Estonian and Ukrainian fates are connected directly, I don't have a choice but to fight, and I will always fight. So these patrons, in my eyes, they give me much more than they even know that they do. Andrev Vats, Tim Krüger, Stefan Derlinger, Luke Vilke, Susanna Figueiredo. Oh, that's the name. Got it on the third try. Also, my friends, if you want to write to me, then Patreon is the best way to do it, because there I answer every message every day. So let's have a chat there. Sign up and let's chat. Until my next update, my friends, which will be tomorrow. Slava Ukraini, and bye-bye.